I am literally in a fairy ring of gorse. Sean was out of luck. His elbows were coming out through his jacket sleeves, his knees were coming out through his trousers, the wind was blowing in and out of his shoes because it wasn't a beautiful summer May day, no, it was winter. And he didn't have a tune in his head or a coin in his pocket. Never mind. I'll get myself some gorse. It burns hot and bright. But as he started to gather the gorse, he noticed it was still in bloom. That's incredible, he said. You're as bright as a golden egg yolk, as bright as the sun, as bright as the crown of fairy Aine, goddess of the sun and goddess of the sea herself. And as soon as he said that, a tune beamed into his head. And he started thinking of the gorse as it is when it's in bloom, like today. And he was transported. Your busy buzz of honeybee, your pippity pop of peas, your coconut vanilla scent are hanging in the breeze. You're never out of blossom, make the barren soil seed. And should we lose your bloom, well then a kiss we'll never need. You're the haven for the fairies, gods are whittled down by time, because we've stopped believing in great Aine and her line. Your yellow pods of flowers are their fairy coins of gold, to pay the sun as every single day unfolds. Your spines are a shield to conceal the nests of birds. Your stone chats chat, your linnets trill, your warblers chirr and chirr. Your badger and your adder and your lizard fortress fight with the rustle and a slither they can slip inside and hide. Your fires burn bright, strong the flame of your wood. We poor can warm ourselves for free, and so it's understood that you're the thicket of the birds, the bush of us beasts. Without you, gorse, this heath and hearth are incomplete. And as he finished his song, he was aware of a ringing of bells, and there was a carriage made of shell and mother of pearl, and pearl-white horses, and in the carriage a woman dressed in white with a coral necklace. She opened the door. "Sean," she said, "I believe. Would you like to come and play at my ball?" He said, "Well, I'm not doing anything else," and he leapt inside. "Sean, we're not going anywhere unless you play." "Okay," he started to play. And the horses, hey, hey, with a jingle of bells, were off and away. Sean found a flood of tunes in his head. But as he was playing, he noticed that outside was not the rushes and the ferns and the barren bracken of winter. No, there were cherry blossoms and hawthorn and bluebells and ground ivy and violet. But he didn't have time to think because those tunes kept him intoxicated all day. In fact, he didn't stop his play until the sun had set and he found himself outside a palace. And as soon as he stopped that playing, the horses halted. "Sean, follow me. This is my palace, you'll see." And she got out, the beautiful woman, or was she ugly? He wasn't sure, and went into her palace. He followed her behind, like a dog. And inside the palace, the acoustics were fantastic. There was silver, cutlery, and loads of food and wine and candles and trees, shadows outside, some kind of vast grounds, no doubt. And the guests, though, looked miserable. They were dressed in greens and blacks and silvers and gold. Oh, of course. He took out his whistle and he started to play. And hey, hey, they were away, some of them going crazy. And others more formal, dancing in circles, squares and lines. But he couldn't stop. He just couldn't stop. He couldn't take any of the food. He couldn't take any of the drink because he was transfixed by those tunes flowing into his fingers. He played and he played. And then he started to think, when is the sun going to rise? Oh, okay. It's never going to rise because those aren't trees outside the window. That's kelp in the salty seas, not trees swaying in the breeze. And there's a dolphin passing by, a seahorse, catching my eye. "Sean, I think I've been rumbled." He said, "Aine, queen of the midsummer sun, goddess of the gorse, why did you choose me?" "Well, obviously, Sean, you sang to my plant. And it's not exactly you I love, but your tunes. And as I said, the musician must get his pay." And she reached into her pocket and she pulled out a little purse. it had golden scales, and it was a clasp of 2 shark's teeth. I think that will look after you till the end of your days. It'll stay shiny. Thank you, he said. It's just exquisite, thank you. She said, you can go that door or that door. He said, thank you. He just followed the first arm. But then he realised he was in a grand entrance, a kind of cloakroom, because there were the carapaces of crabs and shells of lobster and discarded bits of starfish and fish tails, and he wasn't ready to dive into the ocean, so he he went out the back door, jumped into the carriage, started to play just as he had before, the hey, hey, away, the jingling of bells. And as he was looking out the window, he was thinking that he recognised those bluebells and that blossom and those sunny paths as all the May days from the years before. He stopped playing, the horses stopped, he got out of his carriage, he gave them a little rub on the neck, and then he started to play them away, and hey, hey, off they went. And he felt the sadness of the day. Winter. Oh, and then he remembered that little gift. He pulled... It wasn't gold, it was gorse. Of course it was. And those weren't little shark's teeth, they were 2 spines of gorse. He opened it up, and inside was a piece of gold. Don't get excited, Sean, he said to himself, it's fairy gold. But when he bit it, it didn't fritter away to frost. It stayed whole. And he bought himself a new pair of boots, and then he played for his breakfast one of those new tunes, and the next morning in the gorse purse there was another gold coin and another tune in his head. And you know, that purse, it never lost its bloom. It never lost its blossom. And he always had a tune in his head and coins. Because you know what they say, when the gorse is out of bloom, kissing is out of fashion.